putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Warning! This video contains content that is not suitable for all audiences. Some of the information in the following video could be shocking to some viewers and is likely to cause unexpected reaction. This video is for your educational purposes only and does not break any of the YouTube's policies as outlined in their community guidelines. Viewers' discretion advised. And now your show.
What's up?
Welcome, everybody. Yes, welcome. The captain is in his chair. Spock is at his post. Let's have some fun, shall we? Welcome to G3.
It's weird. Usually I'm over there.
Yeah, I know. I found a way to put you in the captain's chair, man.
I know, right?
Hello, Shayla.
Shayla, shout out Middletown Paranormal.
There you go.
I thought about y'all last night when we were riding past the sign that said Middletown, Virginia, as we were on our way to our investigation.
Ooh. Yes. So, you know what? This is something we should start, Capitan. Hey, Ronnie. How was your weekend? How'd things go? And maybe because it's been interesting. Oh, and we have our R2 unit with us, just so you know.
Oh, okay. I got one sitting here.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say the weekend was great. This place really shocked me a whole lot. I'm gonna be talking about it for a while.
Hey,
I'm going to be talking about it on our podcast. We're going to be interviewing the owner soon.
Okay.
I will say that place is definitely a must go to. Yeah, we should have. We were in a hurry though, because I made us late as usual. I become a diva when it comes to investigating.
You shouldn't admit that, dude. We never admit that. Hey, Kimmy.
I don't care, but I do. Kim, what's up? But yeah, so I will say that Blue Ball Inn is definitely a place that, yeah, very active.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I'll put out a disclaimer that if you are not a scientific investigator, become one real quick before you go there, because that place is high with EMF.
Oh, well, there you go.
I will say that that night, I don't want to put too much out there because I want to let people find out things for themselves. Mm-hmm. But last night was compasses, which is a topic we're going to get into. It was compasses and it was knocks on the wall.
Wow.
And it was strategic knocks. It wasn't just a knock and knock back. It was a answer me by knocking situation. It wasn't it wasn't a REM pod. Sorry. It wasn't much of a REM pod. I do have a REM pod that does not work
Mm.
Based on EMF, it works. It works a little bit. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't work based on like the theremin, like radio doesn't control it.
Yeah.
So it's a little crazy REM pod. It's built a little bit differently, and we'll get into that at a later date. That REM pod did go off, but I had to find a location in the house with the lowest magnetic and electronic frequencies, and using two different tri-fields.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later. But we're not getting into all that. I will just say, if you're not a scientific investigator, you become one before you go there. And when you go there, as long as you do your scientific work first, you will have an excellent night. Now, if you're a ghost hunter and you're a thrill seeker, break out all your electronic equipment. You're going to have things lit up like a Christmas tree.
Hello. I would say this weekend was definitely interesting. Last night, I got called on to an impromptu investigation. Well, we thought it was investigation. Let's put it that way. Get out there. It was a lot more than just an investigation. Some of y'all may have seen my wall. I have a new nickname now.
I saw that.
Yeah. We're no longer known as para researchers. I am now known as a spiritual relocation technician.
I love it.
Otherwise known as a dickhead.
You need a badge with that on there.
Dickhead. Honestly, it's the first time I've ever even heard. Now, we didn't hear it through equipment. That was said audibly through the back door. And I was stunned. The homeowner looked at myself and Shadow Abound and went, "Did I just hear?" And we all said, "Yep," and started laughing. It literally, as the back door, it said, and I was like, "Score me. I got one on above everybody. I'm no longer just an a-hole. Now I've stepped up a degree, if you will."
You graduated.
I graduated, yeah. In the spirit world went, "Okay, that's enough. You're definitely a beep head." Yeah.
Congratulations, Captain.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain. Thank you. It was an interesting case. There was 4 adults and 3 children involved. And it was getting pretty hectic. We spent 4 hours there handling business. And at the end, it was so comforting to hear this morning an amazing message, text from the client, and everything that was said, done, and this morning how it went through. So, it made me feel really good to accomplish the next level of what I was intending, which I did. When it comes to children, I don't play, and I don't like it. Positive or negative spirit messing with kids, that's an absolute no. So that's really why I got involved in that, and it was involving a friend, and I was like, let's handle the business. We handled it, and handled it well. We did it, and we did it well. We did it well.
That's investigating with a purpose. I mean, that's what we all really eventually want to be able to do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we don't not only want to find results, but we also want to be able to help people in what we do and grow. And I think, it's also a learning experience every time we go out there. So I think it's awesome.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Especially when we can help with the spiritual side and not just the paranormal side.
Exactly.
We're learning now that there is a definite unity between paranormal and supernatural. And even Einstein and Tesla said the same thing. And now I'm starting to understand what they were talking about, which makes me even happier going, I'm getting there.
When that light bulb goes off, it's awesome. It's an eye-opening experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you make your client smile and you could feel their ease. You could feel that heaviness leave. And you're like, now we're doing what we meant to do.
Exactly.
That's the one thing that my mother said before she passed. And when we were talking about this whole paranormal, supernatural thing and the family heritage, she said, don't stop doing what you're doing for people. You're here for a reason. And that touched me. And last night was another touching moment of giving that of what my mother said to me and knowing I am doing what I'm here to do. So, bam. It's not just all technical shit, you know?
Yeah. Hey, it goes beyond that. There's so many different elements that make up what we do. It's crazy. And it never stops.
Yeah.
You know, there's never one piece to the puzzle. It's just a never ending puzzle that you have to put together. You know, you're going to learn something new. You're going to grow and continue to grow, and you never stop growing. That's the beautiful part about this field. It just doesn't stop.
I could not agree more, Capitan. I could
Yeah.
not agree more. So, why are y'all here? Why are we here? Shall we begin?
Let's go.
Let's do it. First, shall we introduce R2?
Let's start with the R. I've been excited about it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The R2. I got the R1.
Well, you know, I got the R1 too, but I like to call it R2D2. You know,
I've been calling it the R2 and thought I was saying it wrong.
No, you're R1. You're saying it wrong. It's R1, RW1.
You just called it the R2. What the hell?
Well, you know, hey, Ron, is this R2 or R1? But nevertheless, without further ado, we are honored, Capitan, if you will. This is something that was my dream. And to talk to Ron Wood, Boo's Paranormal Equipment. Ron created this new piece of equipment that is called the RW1 from Boo's Paranormal. It will be hitting the market very soon, but it is in beta testing. And ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to what I like to call my R2D2, but it is also known as the RW1. There she is. That is the bad boy. Let's see. Can I do here? And can we open it up? There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the RW1. Let me get over there. And Capitan, shall I kind of show it off a little bit?
Go ahead. I was going to get mine, but I didn't want to leave the camera.
Hey, leave the camera. We're good. We're both beta testers.
It's over here somewhere.
Now, for those who wish to see it, this is the unit. We're going to keep this up. You're going to see the rotation. This is a sonar program. The gentleman who created and built this is actually on with us right now. I'll turn this back around and bring it closer so you can see if there's hits here in the cabin. And there is. It's a full complete sweep. It has a target range of 4.5 feet. And it's in centimeters. And it will tell you every hit in the far right. It is an amazing piece of equipment. I am so excited to have my hands on it. I'm sure, Sean, Capitan, I'm not going to speak for you, sir, but
I'm going to tell you what, it's an amazing piece of equipment. Still getting used to it. I've tested it out so far at 2 different locations that I've had it at. And I will tell you, the part that sucks is that I haven't gotten to test it out where I wanted to test it out yet.
Right.
I think I'm going to be testing it out with you, though, in May.
I like it.
I know that's not my investigation, but I'm going to, when you're in one place, I'm going to be at the other, testing it out. So far, I tested it out at the cabin, I'll say, and I adjusted it. I moved it because I'm a scientific guy. Remember that. I'm a science first. I investigate as a skeptic. Not saying I don't believe. There's a difference between a skeptic and a non-believer. But if I don't jump on every bell and whistle that goes off. But at the cabin, I would say in the basement is where it was getting hits. And in the same exact location, the guy who invented it, Mr. Wood, was getting hits, and I moved it and I adjusted it away from where it was getting hits because I was like, "Oh, there's a bucket right there," and it was sitting above the bucket. I didn't think it could shoot the beam there, and I moved it, and it panned back that way, and it wasn't getting a hit. So I was like, "Cool, okay." It was the bucket. About 30 minutes later, it got hit in the exact same spot after I moved it. So I'm like, okay. something's going on over here on this right side. And then I took it upstairs in a wide open living room of the cabin. Same thing. It was getting hits on the right. It was getting hits in the middle, and it was getting hits in the left. And there's nothing there. And I sent the video to the guy who invented it, and I tried to get him to debunk it. I tried to debunk it. I tried walking in front of it to see if it would pick me up. It didn't pick me up until I got within 4 feet of it. I tried everything I could to, I don't know if I sent you that video or not. We spent over an hour and a half trying to figure out why it was getting hits.
Yeah.
And we couldn't. We moved things around. We did everything we could. So those two places, it was getting hits. I tried in other times. It's not something that just picks up anything. If it doesn't get a hit, that thing is quiet. It doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
It's not something. I've tried different tests with it to see if I can get it to go off. I tried shooting other infrared at it. I've tried cutting lights on and off. I tried shooting my flashlight. I tried doing all kind of different things, rolling balls in front. I tried doing all kind of things to get it to go off. And it's a solid piece of equipment.
There it is.
That's my personal review on it. I mean, I can go on for days, but I'm going to let you talk.
No, I'm not going to talk too much because I definitely want to get into the meat and gravy of the show. But yeah, I'm going to confirm. Right now, Sean and I are beta testers. Okay. This will hit the market soon once it's out of beta. However, right now, I know that a test has been done again, like you said, also here at the cabin on its grounds in the rancher by the creator, Ron Wood, from Boo's Paranormal Equipment, folks. Boo's Paranormal Equipment. Cheapest, best price for the right person. Look at me. All right. Him and Jason Gray from GI Paranormal have done tests in the basement, and they got the exact same results, Sean, as you did. So I was hoping to be able to use the last name. None of my equipment came out. So I was like, man, I didn't get to use my baby. However, I know how this thing works and its actions, and I cannot speak on a higher level on the quality of this piece of equipment for the price, because trust me, I know what Ron's going to put it out for. It's not worth that price. So bear none. Oh no, it's really not. And the work that Ron puts into this, because we talking with Ron, we had to make sure it was economically sound for the general paranormal researcher.
And I did find a case for it, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Where'd you find it?
Mine's on. I got mine on Amazon. Let me get off. Now I got to get off the camera.
Yeah. While he's doing that, it is a beautiful piece of equipment. It's solidly sound. It's got a lot of girth to it. It's very low profile for how it was designed. Nice, dude. You got to send me the link because I need one. I'm waiting to see his on cameras. There you go. There it is. That fits perfect, dude.
Yep.
Ronnie says, you never sent me that link for that case.
I suck. I'm going to do it. I promise it.
Yeah,
and of
send
course,
me that link now.
And of course, Ron, I got your sticker on there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You know, right now I got that sticker on the front of mine as well.
Yeah.
I made sure.
Too. I think I only paid like $40 for it.
Oh,
which
nice.
is cheap for a case, if y'all know how the prices of these cases run.
Yeah, and they're going up too. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so $40 for a case is not bad in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. Now when it comes to this piece of equipment, because now it comes down to keeping her safe, you know, in travel and the whole nine. And this piece of equipment, you're going to need it.
It's durable. I'm not easy on equipment at all. I'm not. But that's a piece of equipment I feel like I can handle pretty well and not worry about, is it going to break if I accidentally put it down a little too rough, or, you know, if it, I got a case for it just because of traveling.
Yeah.
When I'm packing stuff, that was my main concern, was traveling. So, and Ron's seen that case in person. So,
And like
uh,
you're saying it's a perfect fit.
it is. It really is.
So, you know what? When it hits the market, get ready, folks. Start putting your money away now. This is going to be an absolute necessity for your arsenal, if you will, because it's groundbreaking. And I am so proud. We are so proud to be sponsors and promoters of Boost Paranormal Equipment and Boost Paranormal, Ron Wood and Michelle Wood, and just so happy to doing a joint venture with them on this project. Yeah. So, Capitan, we're going to keep R2 up. Shall we jump into it?
I'm riding along on this ship with you, boss.
All right. Well, we're going to touch base with psychology, parapsychology today. On this segment of the show, this is where I'm going to talk history. We're going to talk myths, lore. We're going to bring you up to speed from then to now. So today we're actually starting with organized parapsychology or organized para research teams. This all started with two gentlemen over in England by the name of Dr. Williams and Dr. Sedgwick. It's interesting, this story. This takes place back in the 1800s, if you will. And I'll read that in just a second. How this all came about was there is actually three people that actually involved with the entire situation. I like to go back to Dr. Sedgwick. And the reason why I like to go back to Dr. Sedgwick is because of how it all came about. He was kicked out of the university, let go, kicked out, however you like to say it, because they didn't believe in his thoughts. And I do believe, I'm going to get into the people later and the individuality, but I'm just giving y'all the meat and gravy today to kind of get your mouths into what we're going to be talking about. So he was let go from the university that he was with, and he did have a wife. She was also a doctor, Dr. Sedgwick. So it's two Dr. Sedgwicks, kind of like Dr. Ron and Dr. Ron, which we'll talk about down the road. They got together with Dr. Williams, and they started a very unique society, which is the oldest society in the world when it comes to paranormal research, if you will. Now, let me jump in this. Along with him, there was the foundation. The foundation was Henry Slade with John Carroll Fettig Zalner. I can't say his name. Zulner. I don't want to say Zuzu. Zulner. Zulner. Henry Zollner with John Frederick Zollner. In 1853, chemist Robert Hare conducted experiments with mediums and reported positive results. Other researchers, such as Frank Padmore, highlighted flaws in the experiment, such as a lack of control or prevent trickery. Agnor D. Gasparin conducted early experiments into table tipping. Over a period of 5 months in 1853, he declared the experiment a success, being the result of an acetonic force. Critics noted that the conductor were insufficient to prevent trickery. For example, the knees of the sitters may have been employed to move the table, and no experimenter was watching above and below the table simultaneously. I found that very interesting. Now, where is this going? Parapsychology. Parapsychology is the study of alleged psychic phenomenon, extrasensory perception, telepathy, precognition, clairvoyance, psychosis and psychokinesis, also called telekinesis, and psychometry, and other experiences, etc. Criticized as being pseudoscience, the majority of mainstream scientists reject. 'Cause, you know, I don't want to say pseudoscience. I want to say pseudoscience. 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 The majority of mainstream scientists reject Parapsychology has also been criticized by mainstream critics for claims by many of the practitioners that their studies are plausible, despite a lack of convincing evidence after more than a century of research for the existence of psychic phenomenon. And this goes into like fringe science and stuff like that. I'm not going to get in your heads about all that today. Really, I'm just trying to feed y'all a little bit of information, and then we're really going to dive into it in few further shows. But I wanted to get this started. Um, the term parapsychology was coined in 1889 by philosopher Max de Jour as the German parapsychology. It was adapted by J.B. Rhine in 1930s as a replacement for the term psychological research in order to indicate a sufficient shift towards experimental methodology and academic discipline. The term originated from the Greek nopa pere, meaning alongside in psychology. So there you go. I mean, you've got transition periods taken in. There's 5 eras of research or parapsychology that we're going to talk about each era in future shows. Right now, we're just opening those doors to you. Um, Early psychological research, Henry Slade, John Carl, as we just talked about, the German astrophysicist Johann Carl Friedrich Zellner tested the medium Henry Slade in 1877. According to Zellner, some of the experiments were a success. However, flaws in the experiment were discovered, and the critics have suggested that the Slade was a fraud who performed trickery in experiments. We hear that today, right? We still hear about trickery, the slick of eye. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because the one thing that I want you all to understand, if you want to understand the paranormal, if you want to understand charlatans, start to do your research into magic. And this is where, when I was on the speech circuit, this was my go-to. This was the thing because I have a background in magic and illusions. And that's why I call it the illusions of the paranormal, because it's not the intent of the individual sometimes. A lot of times it's trickery of science, not understanding your earth science, not understanding your standard science, and seeing, oh my God, I saw a projection, or um, I saw a ghost. Let's use the G word. And all it was 2 double panes that were that had barometric pressure, humidity between the two, which actually project the light of the individual or what's being seen on the opposite side into that location. It turns into a projector.
Can
And
I ask that? I don't mean to cut you off.
it's
And,
okay.
and you might have been going down there, but also, and we'll get into this too, is the EMF. Too much EMF in a location will cause you to hallucinate.
Yeah.
And too much EMF in your home, like when you're investigating doing private homes, if they have too much EMF, so much as an alarm clock beside your bed, if you have too much EMF coming off of that, it will cause you to literally hallucinate or have dreams um, of things that are happening while you're awake, and mess with your vision, mess with your mind, mess with your thoughts. And that goes right into what you're talking about with the trick, the illusion.
Exactly right, Capitan. I didn't really want to dive into EMF poisoning, but if we're there, let's talk about it for a second. And, it'll return back in the show.
There, I was just adding to what you were saying.
No, that's perfectly fine. I mean, when it comes to EMF poisoning, it can actually cause psychosis.
Yep.
It can cause psychological issues. It can cause physical issues, both in the brain and in your blood pressure. It can actually affect seizures in your brain. Too much EMF can affect your synapse firing. So these are the little things in your brain that send information. They can have them misfire. This is a lot of things that we experience in today. And people think, I smell something, or I have this weird feeling. A lot of times it's what they call a mini seizure, and it's a misfire of the synapses from one to another, which causes us to have recognition. It's really interesting. but EMF is something serious. A ferriton cage can be very dangerous to a human. Hold on, I want to put this up here. Hey, Chris, I'm sorry. I acknowledge you, Christina. Ron Wood, EMFs is very bad if the levels are too high. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in this, I wanted to make sure everybody gets a good grounding of what direction we're going and why we're doing this show. We're starting from the ground up. We want you to understand, where did this all come from? Why are we doing this? Now, when I say that, I'm also bringing out the oldest faction, ASP. Okay, and it has nothing to do with ASPS, although we are members of ASSAP, the group itself. ASP is the oldest foundation para research group in the world in history. And let me get into that. Areas of study included telepathy, hypnotism, rock and box phenomenon. I can never say that. Apparitions, hauntings, the physical aspects of spiritualism, such as table tilting, materialization, and apparitions. In 1880s, the society investigated apparitions, experiences of hallucinations, and the same. Amongst the first important works was the 2 volumes publications in 1886, Phantasmal of the Living, which is, I suggest, if you can get your hands on it, read that. Daggone, I lost my place. All right, which was largely criticized by scholars. In 1894, the Census of Hallucinations was published, which symbolized and sampled 17,000 people out of these 1,684 persons admitted to having experiences of hallucinations and apparitions. The SPR and ASP, now these are the same groups, back then it was SPR, because of the model and similar societies of other European countries and the United States during the late 1900s. Early clairvoyance experiments were reported in 1884 by Charles Rickett. Playing cards were included in the envelope, and a subject put under hypnosis, attempting to identify them. Now, we actually use that today at the Rhine Institute as well. The subject and Edgar Cayce Institute. I need to put them, shameless plug, all are in the house. The subjects were purported to have been successful in a series of 133 trials, but the result dropped by chance level when they performed before a group of scientists in Cambridge. J.M. Pierce and E.C. Pickering reported a similar experiment in which they tested 36 subjects over 23,384 trials, which did not obtain above chance scores. Interesting. So we'll get into the following Sunday. We'll get into William Sedgwick. We'll get into Dr. Williams. We're going to get into Dr. Sedgwick, his wife, SPR, the psychological paranormal research. But I definitely wanted to, hey, what's up, Air Force? So I wanted to bring that to the open and let everybody know what direction we're going and give foundation and not take away from the show, because we have so much to give. We have so much to offer. And this is just the beginning. We are here for ghost, gadgets, and gossip. We gossiped a little bit. We talked a little bit of gadget. Now we gave you a little bit of the ghost. Now we're going to go back to the gadget because R2's in the house. Hello, Kristen. So, Capitan, I hand the control helm back to you, sir.
So I guess I will talk about the balls.
We're going to talk about his balls. Hey, Ron.
Ron's balls.
Ron's balls.
So I wanted to, you and I discussed, we were going to talk about the balls that everybody likes to talk about, the balls that light up, that the ghost hunters, the paranormal investigators, everybody likes to talk about. And I wanted to talk about them because it seemed to be very popular amongst the ghost hunter community and the paranormal investigator community, and they're two different things. And
especially the last 3 years.
We'll discuss that. Yeah, they've gotten really popular. If you look on YouTube, look on Amazon, if you type in ghost hunting equipment, if you look up cheap ghost hunting equipment, if you listen to anybody tell somebody new getting into paranormal investigating, they'll go to the cat balls. Me personally, I like them. Now, I want to get into something before I even go into these. I, I
That's all
know
right.
I know we're going to get a bunch of comments. Hello, DL. Shout out my lovely mother's in here. Mom, I love you.
Hey, Mama D. Hello,
But
hello.
But I know we're going to get the number one comments every time we say a certain piece of equipment. So I want to eliminate this comment first. The number one thing a lot of people say is, I don't use this, I don't use that because it doesn't work or they can be debunked. Every piece of equipment in our field can be debunked, even down to the best. What is it? The DR60 recorder that everybody rant and raves about. I watched a guy sit there and debunk the hell out of that. So every piece of equipment that we use in this field, unless it's your eyes or ears, can be debunked, and that can be debunked because we talked about parapsychology. So,
Right.
um,
And
so
even compasses can be debunked.
yes, everything can be debunked. So
Yes.
let's get the whole that can be debunked. This can't be used out of here. I use everything when I'm out there. However, when I use a piece of equipment, I don't use it to say, "Oh, that's a ghost" or "That's paranormal." I use it to turn my head and look. If I see this flashing out of the corner of my head, I'll look and put my camera up, and maybe I'll catch something in my camera, or I'd say, okay, if something's going on over here to my right or my left, that's where I need to focus my attention. It gets my attention. That's what I use the bells and whistles for. So I want to throw that disclaimer out there first. I hear that a lot in this field is, I don't use that because that's not paranormal. These can be debunked. If I take this apart and show you, then that can be debunked. So I'm going to completely debunk the cat ball, but then I'm going to tell you the positive with the cat ball, if that's okay.
Oh, no, it's your show, Capitan. Let's do this. You
All
want
right.
my opinion to ask, and I'll sit there and be quiet.
So everybody loves them because they're cheap. And how they work is they have three little 1.5 little circle batteries in them. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a little battery pack on the bottom there. I got a terrible camera. They also got three LEDs that flash when they light up. It's got a tilt sensor in it. Inside the tilt center, it's got three little ball bearings in them. Most of them are aluminum. Some of them are metal or some sort of metal in them. Uh, I think depending on which kind you get, they make different kinds. They got different types of metal in them.
Right.
And what happens is they're at an angle. And what happens is if the ball sits completely still, bouncy floors don't use them, but when they're on concrete, light up. Yes, Ron, you're correct. And I'm going to get into that too. So what happens is if the ball's sitting perfectly still, and I can't demonstrate it because I don't have enough room here in the camera. I might use a chair, but anyway, we don't got time for all that. But if the ball's sitting completely still,
Oh, we got 20 minutes. Go ahead, Capitan.
so the ball's in the side. There's usually two. Sometimes there's one. Depends on who makes it. All right. And what happens is the ball there's two positive leads on each side of a tube inside the cat ball. So all of you, if you have a cat ball, there's a little blue tube on the inside. If you take them apart, there's a little blue tube that those balls sit in. And what happens is when that thing moves, the ball will roll and it completes the circuit to make the light up. It's simple electricity. It's very simple. Whoever created that is probably a billionaire by now for making that happen. But what happens is that when they sit still, there's the ball's not moving to touch that lead to make that circuit.
Right.
And so the ball stops lighting. There's no reason for the ball to move. And it's at a tilt, so it's tilted away from it. Courtney's in the other room with Nah. So the ball, as long as that ball doesn't as long as that ball doesn't move, it shouldn't be activated. You usually can pick this ball straight up, or you can sit it down. Right, it's a tilt plate switch. Some people call it a tilt tube. They have different names for them, depending on the electrician or who you talk to. You're right. I've heard it called a tilt plate switch. I've heard it called it a tilt tube, tilt switch. But you're correct.
Yeah.
But you can pick them straight up, straight down. But they have to either roll or tilt to activate it. Radio frequencies typically don't set these off. And I say typically because we don't know everything that can make these tilt. But in theory, radio won't set them off. That's why I like them because it's usually a radio that's not going to do it. But it has to be. The balls are pentagon shaped. If you can see, most of them, none of them are round usually. So they can be, you have to sit it perfectly on the floor when you do it, and it usually won't roll anywhere when you do it. Put it on a level floor, and the ball should not light up if it's not being manipulated. But you got to pay attention to that floor. Somebody just brought it up. I can't see it in the comments now, but Ron Wood, I believe.
Yes, sir.
If that floor is not level, that ball can roll at any time. It could be a gust of wind from a window that has a leak, or HVAC, which is something that people don't pay attention to. Gust of wind can move that ball. These things are light. Anything can move these balls, and so that's one thing that I like about them, is that they have to be manipulated to cut on. Now, we've been in the field before. We've seen these balls sit perfectly still and light up. Now, I'm gonna ask you, Captain, why do they light up when they're sitting completely still?
Well, there's a couple of reasons that it's possible. Okay, that everything is an endless amount of possibilities. Let me hit here. What did? No, I don't want to. Yes, I want to reply. I don't know why I just did that. Let me put in here. Ron said, "Do not toss them on the floor. It can damage the trigger switch." Exactly. You have to sit them down.
Dang. God, please don't toss them.
Yeah, because I've already lost 3. Because you get there and you get rolling, you're like, throw it, and you're like, cling, titty-dig, and then it's, and I'm like, oh, damn it, I know exactly what just happened. So Ron, exactly right. Ron is, of course.
It will cost quickly.
Yeah. So actually, if you have a high enough EMF field or something, EMF manipulation, if you will, it could trigger the board on which the LED lights are on. But that's a lot of energy. Okay. This is where that whole understanding of possibility that it's spiritual effect, pushing that energy into it. Now, we all think that spirits can manipulate anything they want. Okay. We all know this. We all have heard it. We've all said it. On a psychological factor, yeah, okay. On the research side, on the earth science side, really on the earth science side, the only thing that could probably trigger the LEDs, Capitan, may be a static cloud. And it would have to be a very strong static cloud, which a lot of us have mistaken for sphere or for orbs. Okay. But they do happen. It's a natural phenomenon, but it does have to take certain things for it to take place and to happen. Other than that, the only other reason why that light would go off scientifically is, say, if there's a bad connection on your motherboard, if the batteries are too juiced up, but wouldn't that be full-blown switch open? So we would know. But you asked, and I'm just giving you the science side of why they could be affected. They do.
Those are great answers. I mean, you're the science guy. I go to you, or I call you middle of the night while you're at work 100 times.
He does. He does.
So one reason, and this is going to probably make everybody throw their cat balls away. This is probably going to ruin everybody's investigation with cat balls. However, I've known this since I started investigating with cat balls, and I still use them at every investigation I go to. What do people do on investigations with these cat balls? They pick them up, take them out of their case or bag or whatever they carry them in, and when they're walking from one place to another, what do? They stick them in their pocket. So what happens is it gets hot. Well, what does aluminum do when it gets hot? It shrinks and swells. So when it goes from one place to another, if you're investigating in a place that has air conditioning, you're hot, you're outside or you're somewhere, and that cat ball's in your pocket getting hot, getting warm, your body temperature is getting used to you. Then you stick it up on a fireplace, man, or you stick it on the floor where the temperature is different. Now, see, we investigate with a weather station, so it's measuring the ambient temperature of a room.
Roger
that floor temperature is going to be different than the temperature the weather station's picking up. The ceiling temperature is going to be different. So whatever you're sticking this on is going to be different than whatever temperature is in your pocket or in your person. So it's good. So when you're sitting there and 10 minutes later, cat ball starts lighting up, everyone thinks, oh, look, it's paranormal. Cat ball's lighting up. Now, you're sitting in a location, nothing else is happening. No REM pod, no knocks on the wall, no EVPs, nothing's happening, no tripwire, but your cat balls are lighting up. It might be because the ball that's inside has shrank to its normal size and it happened to roll and hit the sensor.
Exactly.
And it gives a lot of people that false hope. And then you see all this evidence where there's cat balls going off, but you're not stopping to think, well, the cat ball's going off, but nothing else is happening.
Yep.
So that's why we don't call any evidence unless we have the trifecta. Unless there's three things going off simultaneously, that's when we start looking at what could be evidence. And it doesn't have to always be like three things happening right then and there, but what three things led up or after to what happened to call it paranormal. Exactly. So when you're investigating with cat balls, I use them to look. It causes me to turn my head. That's what I use them for. I don't use them to say ghost, the G word. I don't use them to say spirit. I don't use it to say anything other than that's where I'm going to turn my head. If I have a cat ball, first thing I do is I take them all out. I let them adjust to the room.
Yes.
And I'll take them, and when I sit them in places, I don't typically try to put them on the floor. However, sometimes it's good to put them on the floor. That's where if you have a level floor, depending on what kind of floor it is. If you have an old wood floor, you're genuinely sometimes safer than you have like tile or a metal floor or something like that. But it's definitely you got to watch how you carry these things around.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let me go and let me pull up Ron and Christina. And I like this. Christina does say, she says, vibrations flip the switch and activate the little capacitor and the flash until the charge is discharged completely. Yes. Thank you. Absolutely right. She also continues by saying, I use a point and click thermometer, an ambient stationary thermometer to test my spot temp changes. Absolutely. There's one of the trifectas. Just like the Capitan was just talking about.
Yeah.
Ron just sends in and goes, the spring inside the cat ball sometimes are just making contact, but not in a full contact. Humidity can affect the contact so that the cat balls lights up. Hold on. Same with the flashlight. That is why I do not use the flashlight method. I can understand your point. I completely. Shayla drops in and says, I know you're talking about cat balls, but a pet peeve of mine is when teams have equipment go off and they say it's paranormal, but it's actually they just haven't checked their batteries. Like you said, one piece of equipment could be many other things besides paranormal. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly why we're doing this and talking about that.
And Shayla, I want to touch on that. I'm glad you said that. You have a very good point with that. We don't go to investigation without a battery tester. Number one, the night before investigation, I go through every piece of equipment that doesn't take a battery. I make sure they're charged fully. But we go to a battery tester. When we have any kind of activity and it's constant nonstop, I take the battery out and check it with my battery tester. And you can ask my teammates with that one. I will literally pull the battery out that piece of equipment and stick it on the tester just to make sure that it's not going dead.
Yeah.
Because especially with REM pods are famous for it. If that battery's going dead on the REM pod, it will light up. It will go off. It's funny that Ron just commented that because he's saying the exact same thing I'm saying.
Yep.
In that comment right there that Ron's saying, it will go off. And I've seen it happen. I've had it happen on me before. REM pod will go off on a low battery. Now, I have seen, though, on the other side of that, I've taken a REM pod with a full battery and watch it go nonstop and get drained, which was unexplainable because it shouldn't have done that. So I have seen that happen in the field. There are times where things will happen. Well, that's one time that's happened to me. I had a full battery in the REM pod. It goes off. I check the battery. It's full. I stick it back in there. It goes off again. I checked the battery again, and it was drained. That was at Rainworth Inn. So I don't know how that happened.
Okay. Hi, my turn. Yay. Okay, here's where science can come in. A lot of people talk about battery drainage. Okay. Again, this can, and I use the word can, didn't say it is, can explain battery drainage. If the barometric pressure is at a certain extent and the temperature affects with the barometric pressure against the humidity, it becomes an open circuit. And if that is the case and you have this connection, there's a constant running. So it's an outside interference to that battery and battery connection. You can turn the switch off all you want and still drain in the battery. If the switch is on its own position, you're having a constant heavy flow. So it's like doubling the amount of power. That is the circumstance on a natural science factor that could happen. That's why we're doing this show. It's pros and cons, and that's why we want to let y'all know.
Absolutely. And I would agree 100% with that theory. Had two REM pods sitting side by side do the same thing. I can't see it doing that to one and not the other.
Exactly. And now that's where that trifecta comes in too. It's not,
So
we're testing our equipment.
And so that's one thing that we do is we don't stick one REM. So if we're doing a REM, I'm not a fan of REM pods. I'll throw that out there. I think I've said that to you before, and I've said it to other people. I'm not a fan of REM pods. I use them. Don't get me wrong. Just because I'm not a fan of it, just because I don't like them. I still use them, and I do believe they have their place in what we do. And we're not going on a REM pod rant, but I will say that when I do use them, I use more than one. When I use them because I want to see how one is affected compared to the other in the same area. So if I have one set, here, I'll have another one over close by somewhere else because I want to see what happens. You know what happens when radio frequencies affect them. If radio frequencies setting it off, it's generally going to set both off at the same time. So I want to know. I want to know what's happening if something's going on. I'm a scientific investigator, so that's why I try to run two at the same time. But that, the barometric pressure theory is definitely correct.
Now, I want to say something real quick because we want you guys to follow us and, how this network works. Now, I appreciate you, Ronnie, for jumping out and saying, check the troll. And I appreciate that because I totally missed that. If you guys, yeah, we had a troll, but I took care of it. It is gone. I stabbed that little bastard. If you guys see someone doing that, call it out. All you really have to do is say, Howie, Sean, flush the toilet. We'll know exactly what you're talking about, travelers. Just say, all right, the toilet needs to be flushed. That's letting me know that it's in there. We don't need to cause any, big deal. But that's letting us know it's time to flush the toilet. We got a troll or someone being negative. That's what it's called, flushing the toilet. And I appreciate you, Ronnie. Thank you so much for letting me know about that. I'm sorry, Captain. I just want to make sure
I completely missed it. I was too busy running my mouth.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, I missed him too. And I was like, until I saw Ronnie say, check the troll. And I'm like, we have a troll? What the hell? And then I went, oh, damn. So that's how we handle. Hey, yeah, see, so, yeah. Carolyn's like, flush the toilet. I love it. That's it. I love code words. Amen, mama. That's how we roll. Let me get this here. Christina says there's a musical instrument actually. Oh, very good. Yes. Howie flushed. Howie flush.
To wrap up the cat balls, as we were talking about them, at the end of the day, I use them. There's not many pieces of equipment that I don't use, whether I like them or not, because I do believe they all have their place. I do believe that even the worst piece of equipment that everyone hates or thinks they can be debunked. I've been fooled by a lot of them. I've been proven wrong by a lot of them. So I'll pass it back to you, sir.
Well, I totally agree. And I loved these little hot spots that we're going to be doing. That's why we wanted to put this show out, you guys, was to inform, the pros and the cons. Where did this come from? Like, where did this come from comparatively to where this come from, comparatively to, what is this used for? Sean's right behind me. He's got the same stuff. Where did it come from? What's it being used for? We want you guys to know the solid base of your equipment when you're in the field. And this is for any ghost hunter and above. That's why we're doing it, because you're a ghost hunter. You're into this. How does your equipment work? Why do it if you don't know what your equipment is used for and where it came from and understanding of it? And that's why we're doing this show. And when, Capitan came to me and said, I want to talk about cat balls, I'm like, score! Let's run from the pirates really quick. But it was a perfect opportunity for us because it is the most popular piece that's out right now. And when, Sean came to me and said, let's do about cop balls, I'm like, let's do that the first thing hit. I agree. Let's talk about it because it's what about. We're sharing information with you guys, stuff that our knowledge. And if we can share it and people in chat can back up and share what they have, that's what this show's about.
Absolutely.
Why are we in the field if we don't know what we're using and we don't know the history of what we're doing? It's all about G3, baby. Ghost, gadgets, gossip. Yeah.
You're forgetting something though.
Oh no. What did I forget?
You were supposed to talk about something, sir.
CSR.
No.
CSR. What was I going to talk about?
How did we navigate back in the day? What do we use?
I was. You know what? We don't have time. We don't. We'll have to make that for the next show. No, you did not. But that's what I love about this show. We can keep rolling with this thing, and
going about cat balls. But I was like, "Am I talking too much? Maybe I need to slow down."
Not at all, brother. Not at all. I think this is what it's good. You guys, you see, we can keep rolling this into the next show and into the next show. If we don't hit the hot spot of what one of us want to talk about, we'll move it to the next show. So next show, we're going to talk more about the history. We're going to talk about Sedgwick and Williams in detail. Oh, my God, you guys are dropping some chat right now. Hold on. I'm going to make sure I catch it in line. Also, we're going to jump into why should we use ambient compasses in the field? All of us should be having at least one compass with us. Why should we be considering something like the Galileo thermostat? Natural ambient technology. Now, you did say, Capitan, everything can be debunked. Even compasses can be debunked if the EMF field is too high. They will be affected. But majority of the time, that is your best piece of equipment to go to. You can ask the guys. I had my compass watch on last night. I had one hanging around me. I had several because that is my go-to piece of equipment. You know this, and many of you now know this. The compasses are almost a fail-safe piece of equipment. Almost fail-safe. But I agree with Capitan. He's right. They can be manipulated. So, we'll talk about that the next show. We'll talk about history. And we'll talk about some more adventures too, because I'm sure we all have stories to share, and that's what it's about.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me jump in here real quick before we have Thermine. The REM pods are a basic version of Thermine. Yeah, there you go. Shayla, it is. It really is. And people say there's no way to set it off unless it's actually touch. So good talk. Yeah, that's it.
Are we talking about the REM pod?
I think so.
I prove that. Yeah,
I can prove that wrong in a scientific environment. Give me the right room and give me the tools. I'll set it off all day long.
Handheld radio. That's all I need.
Yeah, give me certain versions of cell phones. They'll shut them off all day long. Let's see. Mama said, I prefer fashion, intuition, and man-made gadgets. Thank you, Mama. Oh, I like your mama. I like your mama.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Mom's got some different stuff going on over there.
I love that, the man-made gadgets, because you know your equipment the best. So, I absolutely
You want to
compasses
investigate
love.
how we investigate that one?
Hey, set up a day. Let's do this.
I'm serious.
Mom, we're coming. Ronnie said, since you guys are doing equipment show, try to contact Gary Gelkek, inventor of the RIM Pod SB7, SB11, and the millimeter, and several others. Oh, we are. We are. We're just going to give you our basis on what we know and information. And we may bring equipment creators on if we can get in touch with them. We would love to speak with them. That way they can give you their point of view. Oh, absolutely, Ronnie. Yes, sir. Thank you. RF frequency can trigger a REM pod. Yes, it can. The circuit doesn't have quality filter and throw it into a frequency of free classification. Thank you, Ron. Exactly. What? Air Force, I assume that there will be more talk about balls. Yes. Cat balls. Shayla's like, cat balls. And Christina says, electromagnetism will trip a lot of things easily. Bravo. Yes, and you're exactly right. So is the environment, train tracks, cell phone towers, water spouts and mains. So much we're going to talk to you guys about to help you as investigators and ghost hunters to level up. That's why we're doing this show, y'all. We want to help you. It's not because we might know more. It's not that at all. It's the fact that if we can help you, we're going to. That's what it comes down to. So, Capitan, we are at the top of the hour, sir. So, what you got for the people out there?
What do I got? As far as what?
Well, we know we got May coming up. We've got that nice adventure together out there. What other things y'all got going on as far as Hill City Paranormal?
Well, I had some people know I had surgery about a week ago, so I was down for a little while. I'm surprised. I just want to send a public thank you to everyone who wished me well while I was down. It wasn't a major surgery, but it kept me down for about a week. And when I went on this investigation Saturday, my team really stepped up and they carried all my equipment for me, so I didn't have to carry anything, and they helped me out a lot. So I was able to get through with it. But we're going to be down because Courtney actually has a major surgery coming up this week. So we're going to be down. She's going to be out for like 6 to 8 weeks. So we're not going to be doing much investigating till June. Actually, we're going to be doing a Civil War reenactment in June. So I'm going to be bringing my little go bag with me on the battlefield.
Yeah.
I just can't let nobody see me with some equipment at night, but I can walk around at night and do some investigating. But as far as that goes, we got Clover Hill Village in June that we'll be investigating here in Appomattox. That's our next investigation. Again, we hate to sit out a month because we investigate so much. We do a lot of private investigations. We do a lot of in-home stuff. We don't broadcast a lot of what we do. Some stuff, Courtney and I go out and do privately. My mom's house, we've been investigating a lot because she's got a couple things going on in her house, but that's mainly what we got going on. And then we got the one with you. The one that we're doing with you is May 11th, and that's the reason. The main reason we're just trying to find some real answers there, and that one I can't wait to talk about. We really can't disclose that location,
right?
But that one I can't wait to. I'd love to do a show about it, actually. Yeah, that's a private location, but I'm excited about May 11th.
Absolutely. Hold on, I'm just finding this block tarot reader, Peter. Yes, I'm trying to. I thought, you guys, and I see where you're coming from, and I see your point. I thought that I was blocking from Restream the entire conversation, but it does not look like Restream blocked this tarot reader guy. And I'm not sure why he did not, because I went and followed specifically. So thank y'all for letting me know that he was not completely blocked. So we're going to keep that as a flush eye watch. Oh, somebody's here. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Other than that, we're going to end that one. You guys, I'm going to keep an eye on this tarot guy. I want to see why Restream did not block him completely. Maybe it's because of Facebook thing, but I just blocked him on Facebook. So we'll see if that happens. I appreciate y'all letting me know that. I'm probably going to have to handle that on the Facebook side. So I'm looking forward to May 11th. My team is looking forward to meeting all of you guys. So we're really excited about that. We had a couple of other things, but it's all quiet stuff. I can't really talk about it, just like we were talking. But
Right.
when, after the fact, we'll see what happens, you guys. But, join us in the week after next. Let's, wanted a reading would contact a real one who isn't trolling. Yeah, right. Absolutely, Ron. But join us this Sunday after next. We're going to keep this whole thing rolling. We'll see which piece of equipment. We're definitely going to talk about compasses. And then whatever Sean wants to pull back up, maybe we'll go to EMF readers, because I know that's what you wanted to dive into.
I think we should let the people decide.
Yeah. Yeah. When we create the event, you guys let us know. Why don't y'all let us know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, and we'll dive into it. I think that's a great idea, Capitan. So until then, check us out, Hill City Paranormal and Hill City Paranormal Podcast. Don't miss that show. Don't miss that show. In an hour, absolutely. In an hour, catch, that's right, the Orion Effect at 7 p.m. We're going to be live over in the Rancher for the very first time. So we're excited about that. So check us out in about an hour right there on the Orion Effect. Other than that, keep an eye out. Look what all the great things are taking place. Talk to people. Put our egos aside. Put our vainness aside. Let's try to work with instead of against each other. And until then, Capitan, may I close the helm, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good night and have a great week. We will see y'all in 2 weeks. Thank y'all so much. Capitan, thank you again. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for tuning in.